I'll share it with you in English, now that we can speak English. My background is I come with brother. There's 13 of us in the family. My mom and dad lived together. We're married 69 years before my mom left us. But I've learned the history, thank God, by my father's parents. This man was born 1899. My grandma was born 1903. And they've never went to school. And they never knew a word of English. So we were warned not to speak the language when we got home. But over the years, this is one of my exhibits. I'm going to make it short because I have a long way to go with my sisters. But I fought the courts. We've won every court case. And this spring, in March 17, I went to a meeting in Edmonton. And in a crowd like this, there was this people like chief and consul, retired RCMPs, social workers. There was people that work in a community. I hear a lot of griefs from people talking. And I've never heard one person talk on behalf of their people in that place. So I did speak up. I asked questions. And that lady, she was from Ottawa, and that man was from Ottawa. When I spoke, that lady couldn't answer my questions when I asked her. I felt like I wasn't wanted. And then there was a break for dinner. So after the break, this guy from Ottawa was supposed to stand up and talk. But came 1 o'clock, he never spoke. I'm waiting for him to speak up. He never spoke. So around 3:30, I left, I walk out. That lady from Ottawa, she waited for me outside. She said to me, "I'm sorry, I couldn't answer your question," she said. "But I will now," she said. We are working in Ottawa to put First Nations in 3 categories: the Federal, Provincial, and British North American Act. I said, "How can you do that?" I said, "If you want to do that, how many immigrants you brought in this country? And did you keep track of them? I want to know that before you start with my Native brothers and sisters." And she said, "Our plan is, we know that Native people are having problems in the reserve by chief and consul. So what we're going to do is, we're going to get an electoral officer right from Ottawa to screen the chief and consul when they run for leadership." I said, "How can you treat us like that when you were the one that put elections? We've never had elections in the reserve. And now you put that elections, and now you put us in reservations. Don't you guys have any conscience? And you took the best land, and you destroyed our animals, our water. We're still looking on from the reserve, from that prison world you put us." She just started to cry. So I speak on behalf of you people, your feelings. But I'd like to read something to you. And based on that, we made our own documents to Ottawa. Because why I did this. It starts with Treaty 4 Prairies in Fort Capel in 1874. Was negotiated with the absence of the senior chief involved. Pipon of the Cree, when he returned after it had been signed without him, he angrily demanded better terms. Must farm machinery, the inclusion of grain mills, blacksmith and carpentry shops, and more money. Only after he was told these changes were not being ruled out did he got angry to touch the pen. When they were not forthcoming, he repudiated the treaty. He rejected the treaty. Treaty 5 was signed in 1875, covered northern Manitoba. It was seen as necessary to open stream navigation on Winnipeg Lake and use a teamway to bypass Grand Rapids, where the Saskatchewan River enters the lake. Among other things, in addition, Icelanders and already settled in Ginmill on the lake's western shore. Then in 1876 and 1877 came treaties 6 and 7, ceding to the Canadian government the whole of Alberta and Saskatchewan, south of the North Saskatchewan River. These involved the Western Cree, Assiniboine, and Blackfoot. In 1875, Methodist missionary George McDougall brought word to the 22 Cree and Assiniboine camp between Fort Edmonton and the forks of the Saskatchewan east of Prince Albert that Ottawa would treat with them next summer. First at Fort Pitt, 50 miles upriver from Prince Albert, then at Fort Pitt near the future of Alberta border. The Christian chief seemed pleased, but the Big Bear rejected the clergyman's goodwill, offering from Ottawa such a famous rebuke. We want none of the Queen's presents. When we set a fox trap, we scatter pieces of meat all around, but when the fox gets into the trap, we knock him on the head. We want no bait. Let your chiefs come with men and talk to us. McDougall reported that Big Bear was a troublemaker, an upstart sodo. It was true he was a saltiest, a French word for Ojibwe. But it was also true he then led the biggest Cree band on the plains. The determined and wizened little warrior made an unfavorable impression on many whites. On was the bluff Sam Steele of the RCMP, who early on decided that Big Bear's whole band was a bad bunch. In fact, however, Big Bear was neither anti-white nor agricultural. The signatories' names on the Indian treaties were normally spelled out in Indian and to English translation, but the chiefs did not actually sign them. Even the extras written for them. All they did was literally touch the pen to sign consent. Crowfoot, for one, later stated that he had never actually touched it to avoid what was sacred. This was taught in the schools. This is one of the exhibits that's sent to Ottawa. Now, I'm going to read this. I'm reading this inalienable rights just for you to know where I'm coming from. Quite the opposite view was put forward by another English philosopher, John Locke. In 1704, he believed that most individuals led happy, untroubled lives in nature. born free and living under the control of no other person. They enjoyed certain rights given by the Great Spirit God. These were life, liberty, and the right of ownership of property. Because no mortal being could take away God's gifts, and no one would willingly part with something given by God. Locke called these rights inalienable. When entering society for reason of protection, man kept the inalienable rights. And if the state for a reason, when entering society for reason of protection, man kept his inalienable rights. And if the government, and if the state tried to take them away, Locke believed man had a duty to replace the government in question. Think about genocide by force. Democratic societies incorporated inalienable rights in their constitution, which they don't have, no land base. With some of these documents that we sent to Ottawa, those are exhibits. The government knows are what we send them, and they're denying it. Dear Chief Janvier, I inherit the hereditary title. On July 27, 1995, the government wrote this to me. I have been asked to acknowledge receipt of the various documents which you recently sent to the Governor General. I know that you have also sent copies of these documents to all ministers of the Cabinet, as well as to the Northern Development. As all matters concerning Native issues are the responsibility of Indian Affairs, this was indeed appropriate action to take. Yours truly, Ottawa, and they recognized it. Now, my final, and I'll just read you this history. This was 1889 when they were trying to put my grandfather aside when he was the hereditary chief. Sir, I beg you to inform you that on the visit of the deputy to the superintendent of Indian Affairs to this place, he had an interview at Frog Lake with the Chippewan band from Coal Lake. And they asked him to appoint Isidore chief, the half-brother of my Alexei, my grandfather. The band, in place of Kinosio, his late father, Hobek Odare, they wrote, this is Dene, that's how they wrote it, Hobek Odare. Their chief told them, that I should inquire into the matter to find out if the chieftain was hereditary and report the facts to you. I have made carefully inquiry and find by Hudson Bay Company officer and all Indian chiefs that his forefather was recognized and known as a hereditary chief. Yes. Now my final, because me and my sister, we fought for many years. We sent all the documents to Ottawa. These are just some. But this is our court case. This is the courts when we get charged. This is what we signed, me and my sister. In the Court of Equity in Saskatchewan, Alberta, Nuhnene, our land, Canada, or America. Between Denizsunkhine means Dennis Sovereign, equity, and Her Majesty the Queen, Attorney General for Canada, just common law. Whereas notice pursuit to the Constitution Question Act. Whereas Denizsunkhine stands charges that wherever we're standing. And whereas Denizsunkhine is scheduled to stand trial on the foresaid before the presiding judge at the provincial court, provincial building, wherever it is. Now therefore, take notice, Denizsunkhine has challenged the Constitution Act of 1982. I heard that yesterday here. Section 52(1), the Constitution of Canada is the supreme law of Canada, and any law that is inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution is, to the extent of the inconsistence, of no force or effect. Take notice in the Provincial Court of Alberta, Saskatchewan, Canada, Nohnene on March 19, 1998, Denizsunkhine was granted immunity from the common law. A judge had signed that. According to Alberta Evidence Act Section 43(1), signatures of judges is proof that a fiat was obtained by Denizsunkhine. Cannot be denied the immunity given to Denizsunkhine, Denis Sovereign, on that date. And further, take notice that according to the Judicator Act, Section 7(4), the court shall recognize and take notice of all equity, estate, title, and rights, and equity, duties, and liabilities, appearing incidentally in the course of a proceeding in the same manner in which the High Court of Justice of England would recognize and take notice of them in the proceeding instituted therein. We, the Denizsunkhine, Denis Sovereign, are not members of First Nation. We're not treaty people. October 18, 1995, Judge Fraser stated that our forefathers never signed a treaty. We have always known that also the Royal Proclamation of 1763 does not apply. Canadian citizens, we are not members of the Citizens of Canada Company. Indians, take the Indian Act back to India, where it came from. Aboriginals, as stated in the Constitution. Now therefore take notice that we, the Denizsunkhine, Denis Sovereign, rules of equity prevails. The Queen of England had no right to that position that she held over 100 years. She has committed treason and sedition. Therefore, Denizsunkhine, Denis Sovereign, always kept their rights inalienable. Only the Creator can take these rights away from us. Our concluding remarks in Denizsunkhine, Denis Sovereign, are not guilty of these offenses. The Minister of Indian Affairs is guilty of fraud, breach of trust, treason, sedition, and also the constitutional branch. Therefore, take notice that the Denizsunkhine, Denis Sovereign, are the proprietary of the hereditary revenue since Canada Company operated without a mandate. Canada Constitution is nothing but a fraud and places itself in the feet of its own laws. This will be sent to Ottawa and where Premier or Alberta, Saskatchewan, wherever. And then we dated Honorary Hereditary Life Chief Mary Florence Janvier, Honorary Hereditary Clan Mother Eileen Janvier, my sister. It's not my brothers and sisters. I'm a brave woman. I don't want to cry, but I'm telling you now, where we are, we're heading for somewhere if we don't know who we are. We have to know our history. We have to know who we are. We have to know to respect our parents, our grandparents, for what they left us the land. It's not negotiable. Right now in Cold Lake, no one likes me because I know history. They put a casino there. The casino is paying for our medical. While we have a lot of hospitals, we have a lot of pharmacies, we have all these people working. We have people, handicaps. I heard it this morning. We are handicapped right now without land, without our rights are taken. Why should we have mercy for those people that came to this land and destroyed our land, and we're all still in prison and we're all crying for help? Right now in the House of Commons, they're talking about genocide. This is the time. My son is well educated. He's 52 years old. He never went to the ban office. One time he asked for help. And his sister is in council. Did you know what they told him? They were not going to help him at all. He said, Mom, that's it. I'm 52 years old. I've never went to the ban office for 1 cent. And I never will. Why? These people. Genocide is here now. Put them down. Take our rightful displaces. Many of you people come from communities that know your history. I want to speak up today because I don't know how long I'll be here. But we've did the groundwork. Any one of you can do the same thing. Stand up, show them you have inalienable rights. Don't take denial from them. Take everything they put on here is all ours. That's what they're scared of. When we won the high court, me and my sister, you know what they said? What are we going to do? Put high fences around our houses because we can help ourselves with the cows, with the horses, with the cattle, whatever they have. That's what it's going to come to. So I hope I'm going to be leaving because I'm not traveling on my own, but I wanted to share this from the bottom of my heart that I fought, and it's not easy. It takes a strong backbone to do these things. But I didn't do this on my own, me and my sister. For you people, wherever you come from, we all come from the same place. We've been in jail too long, looking on, and think we're still going to keep quiet for these people. I'm anxious to face those 7 judges. I'm not afraid of no one. I'm not afraid of nothing. I'm ready to go like my forefathers, and I will stand up for my rights. Thank you for listening to me.